as far as what you can do at home, conserving bees is definitely something that gardeners should be interested in, especially if you're interested in biodiversity in general, because you can attract more in terms of bee biodiversity by increasing the flower diversity in your garden than you can in just about any other way. And bees are amazingly, in spite of what I said about their decline, they're amazingly versatile, and there's a surprising number that live in very urban environments. So you don't necessarily have to be way out in western Massachusetts where I live in order to have lots of bees in your garden. Around here, and even in more urban areas, there will be plenty if you provide what they need. What they need is continuous nectar and pollen resources, which means there shouldn't be any long period of time in your garden when there's not something flowering, and of course every gardener can relate with that. And then nesting substrates and materials. Bees need less disturbed areas to go to build their nests. And that's something that you can do even in a fairly small garden. And of course, you want to minimize the use and exposure to pesticide. This is the best way of dealing with trying to avoid gaps in your flowering. And it's making one of these bloom time charts. And you can make it for your own garden. Just list your species, figure out about from when to when it blooms. You can make these observations on your own, or we used to at least have a bloom time chart available here, and maybe it'll become available again because it's a very useful document for gardeners who want to do this. It's a fairly simple thing to do, and typically one finds that early spring is the most difficult time, and often there's periods kind of in the mid to late summer before the asters come out when there may not be that much going on as well. But in the early spring, my favorite solution for that is the witch hazel. But all the willows, pussy willow and other willows, are fantastic pollen resources in the early spring, and the early bees will be using those when they come out in great numbers when the weather starts to warm up. As far as providing nest sites in your garden, what you really want to do is have some little fallow area, even if it's just a few square meters in some corner, where you're not going to trample and change or mow or change the vegetation. It's great if you have stumps of any size. Dead wood is a great resource, as we saw before, for lots of things. Small pieces of meadow are fantastic as well, and little bare banks of soil are something to be cultivated and prized rather than gotten rid of, because they also provide. That's where relatively vegetation-free little banks is where all these digger bees will nest, and you'll start to see that if you keep sunny, sandy, bare spots somewhere in your garden or nearby. Here's some resources for people interested in following up more on bees, including a few amazing books down at the bottom here.